cook it for a long time without it getting mushy. And once the water has evaporated, you pretty much know that it's going to be done. So we're going to add in our quinoa here. I love to freeze my quinoa if I can't eat it fast enough. So any whole grains that you guys have made a big batch of, it's really great to do at the beginning of your week and then have it separated out for the rest of the week and then add in different toppings to make different meals at different times. So some quinoa in here. We're going to add some protein, some extra protein. So you can choose black beans, you can choose cannellini beans, you can do pinto beans if you want to, any kind of beans. But today we're going to do garbanzo beans, and we're just going to go ahead and add those in. If you wanted to cook your own beans, your dried beans, if you're going to do healthy pantry staples, those take a little bit longer to cook. So you want to make sure you're preparing everything beforehand. Like I said, by cooking a big batch of something beforehand and then sectioning it off and then using throughout the week for different things or throwing it in the freezer and using it at another time, it's just a really good practice because, like I said, you always have those healthy staples right on hand. The next thing I'm going to add is we need to add some veggies to this. Quinoa and veggies pair really, really well together. So today what I did was caramelized onions, kale, and what else did I put in here? And mushrooms. And I cooked those up. And so, like I said, we're using healthy fats versus a refined fat. So in order for me to saute this, you can actually dry saute in the beginning of your cooking process. So you can get a pan really, really hot. And then you can throw in your most dense vegetables, so like your onions, and then they're actually going to leach out some water, and so they're going to be caramelizing, and you're not going to need a whole lot of liquid in order to cook those. So once those are caramelized, I added in some frozen chopped kale, which you can actually find or you can do yourself. If you have some kale you want to freeze, just put it in a bag, throw it in the freezer, and then chop it up whenever you're ready to eat it. And mushrooms. If you want to, if you need a little bit of liquid in addition to the onion liquid or whatever veggie you're cooking, you can throw in a little bit of vegetable broth or water, and that can do the trick. So we're going to add these in. The great thing about these three foods, our onions, our mushrooms, and our greens, are going to be that they have a lot of antioxidants. And there are a lot of those nutrient-dense properties that I was talking about. And so you're going to have anti-inflammatory properties, you're going to have a lot of your vitamins and minerals, and they are actually thought to be cancer, anti-cancer, so those antioxidants in there. If you guys want more information about that, Dr. Furman has written a book about the G-bombs, which is a really great thing that I like to live by, and that's an acronym for greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, and nuts. And he says to add those into your diet almost, whenever you can, because they have all of those really great properties that we want to have in order to have a healthy body. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the sauteed greens, mushrooms, and onions. And the more greens you have, the better. Greens, dark leafy greens, are going to be your most nutrient-dense foods that you can get per calorie. So by adding greens to almost every meal, if you're eating an omelet in the morning, throw in some spinach or throw in some kale or throw in watercress, one of your favorite greens. Just get in those greens as much as possible because those are going to be some of the most nutrient-dense foods that you can add into your diet. And then what I'm going to add are some green onions for flavor. I love green onions. I think they're awesome. You can blend them up and put them in a marinade to give it a little bit of a different flavor. I think they're great and crunchy. Put them on top of your salad. Again, put them in your tofu scramble or your egg scramble in the morning. And I'm going to make our own sauce to put on top of it. So I think it scares a lot of people to think about making their own dressings or marinades or just kind of toppings to really enhance a meal, but it can be really easy. You can start with a really simple base, and if you take a look at, if you guys have this handout here, it gives some great ideas. So even things like salsas, hot sauces, lemon juice, lime juice, vinegars, tamari, which we're going to use in this as well, which is a gluten-free soy sauce. By having those on hand and having those staples ready to go, you can easily make something really quickly at home. So to make this topping here, I'm going to add some vegetable broth. You can also do chicken broth or beef broth. Try to get the low sodium version. And then I'm going to add this into a bowl. And then I'm going to add some garlic powder, or if you guys want to finely chop some garlic. You can also add some onion powder, or if you like cayenne or something spicy, throw that in there. And I'm going to add some tahini. Have you guys used tahini before? I'm sure you guys have all had tahini before without knowing it. A lot of times this is what they use in hummus to make it nice and creamy, so it's just blended up sesame seeds. And so this is always really great to have if you want to make a creamy dressing or a creamy marinade. Throw that on top of your meal. And you don't need a whole lot of tahini because it's a really strong flavor. So I'm going to add a little bit of tahini to give this a little bit of a creamy texture. And some tamari, so that gluten-free soy sauce. So typically, did you guys know that soy sauce has wheat in it? I don't know if anyone cares, but but typically soy sauce does have wheat in it. So a lot of people that are gluten-free or have celiac, instead of eating a soy sauce, a regular soy sauce, they choose tamari, which is wheat-free. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to whisk that together. Super simple. This would be great if you guys were baking some chicken, throw some sesame seeds on top of it.